Have you ever wondered how the apps and software you use are made? Are they created by few people in a secretive company lab? Or do thousands of programmers from around the world collaborate and develop them? Today, we'll discuss two different models related to this: open source and closed source. But first, let's have a quiz. Can you identify these popular softwares and apps? Tell me which of these are open source and which are closed source. Think about it. I'll answer it later. You've probably heard of these terms in the news or at the launch of a new app or a model, but might not fully understand what they mean, why they exist, or how they work. And most importantly, why are they essential? So let's dive into what makes these two different and why companies might choose one over the other. Hello, I'm Sandeep Iyer, your AI guru. Open source software is software whose code is open for all. This means anyone can see it, modify it, and redistribute their version of it. Developers worldwide contribute to open source projects, often hosted by platforms like GitHub, Hugging Face, which enable this collaboration. Examples of open source include Linux OS, Android, the Firefox browser, and the Python programming language. Open source is usually free to use. Conversely, closed source software, also known as proprietary software, is the exact opposite. Its code is only available to its creator or the company that owns it. You can use it, but you can't see or modify the code because it is privately owned and controlled, like Microsoft Office and Adobe Photoshop. Here, the source code is kept secret, and only the original author can access and modify it. Closed source software is generally paid and licensed. You have to buy the right to use the software. Now that's the basic intro of open source and closed source. But where did these concepts come from? Let's take a brief look at their history. The open source movement began in the 1970s-80s as a response to restrictions of proprietary software. In 1983, Richard Stallman started GNU project to create free Unix-like OS. This led to the GPL license and the establishment of Free Software Foundation. In 1991, Linus Torvalds released Linux kernel under the GPL license, which became the basis for the Linux operating system. In 1998, the term open source was coined, and the Open Source Initiative was founded to promote open source software. Meanwhile, closed source software had secured a strong foothold in the software business. In the 90s, 70s, 80s, most software was sold with restrictive licenses. Source code was treated as a trade secret because companies' released software could be a highly profitable product. Large software vendors like Microsoft built their business on the closed source model during 80s and 90s. Selling software licenses was very profitable. Even today, many enterprises and consumer applications are closed source. Despite this, the open source movement has continued to grow significantly over time. Open source has its unique advantages, such as cost-effective, transparent, flexible, community-driven, and not dependent on any single vendor or a company. Closed source also has its benefits, such as being more polished and user-friendly, as it is designed with average consumer in mind. Here, the company is responsible for the product, which provides support and ensures consistent and stable experience. Companies develop better products due to proprietary advantages. So how do these models make money, and why do companies choose one over the other? Open source software is free, but it can be monetized in various ways, like offering paid support, consulting, training, hosting the software as a cloud service, displaying ads in software or websites, or taking donations from users and sponsors. Closed source is all about the money, like selling licenses, offering monthly or annual subscriptions, charging for upgrades to newer versions, or selling add-ons like additional features or plugins. How does a company decide whether to go to the open source or closed source route? It depends on several factors, such as business strategy, target users. Some companies value openness and flexibility, others prioritize their experiences like Android and iOS. Then there's the monetization approach, whether a company wants to sell the software or monetize it in other ways. Resources and capabilities. Can the company manage the open source community and development process? Philosophy and culture also play a significant role in the decision. Many companies strategically adopt a hybrid approach to open and closed source, like Google. Let's take the interesting examples of OpenAI's GPT-4 and Meta's Llama 3. GPT-4 is a closed source model, while Llama 3 is open source. Each approach has its benefits. Open source offers innovation and flexibility, and it's usually free. Closed source, on the other hand, provides more control over the quality and security of the product, and companies make a good profit by selling it. What do you think? Will open source prevail in the future, or closed source, or perhaps a hybrid model? If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more informative videos. Let's meet in the next video. Until then, keep learning.